Police presence on the streets of most American towns is a common sight. But for the town of Queen Creek, Arizona, when the first ever municipal police vehicle rolled out onto the streets of the community on January 11, 2022 at midnight, it was anything but ordinary. Getting to that moment was a monumental achievement, the result of years of research, planning, and execution. Unlike many cities, Queen Creek had the rare opportunity to build a law enforcement department from the ground up, especially tailored to the town's values and unique culture.
Growing up in Queen Creek, we had a good set of people with values and customs and abilities that were a lot alike. The goals were the same: to raise a family, to have good kids, to do the right thing at the right time. And I think we're still getting the same kind of people that were there when we only had 500. And that's what's made Queen Creek unique.
We understood that growth was coming our way, that we were in the path of progress, but we wanted to shape it, and we wanted to make sure that the community developed as a quality community, as a diverse community. When people come out here and they spend a little time out here, it's one of the things that attracts them to Queen Creek and one of the things that they fall in love with.
We're a very involved community in our projects. Maybe that's one of the things that we are doing right. We have a lot of community meetings. We inform the community about everything that's going on and try to gather response. So when we do make a decision or do something, we have the biggest variety of comments and help to make sure that it's the best for the community.
For many years, policing in the community was provided by the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department. It met most needs, but as Queen Creek grew from 2,500 residents in 1990 to nearly 72,000 in 2022, some wondered whether other policing options would be a better fit for the town and reflect its uniqueness.
There's been a community conversation about policing for probably close to 5, maybe even 7 years. There were changes happening in the community beyond just the population changes, but some of the socio-demographic changes that happen with communities as they grow, but were becoming much more pressing for us to really get more involved with from a community-oriented policing program.
After retaining the services of consultants specialized in police transformation, the town of Queen Creek embarked on one of the most challenging studies it had ever conducted. They set out to learn what was working in other regions and areas of the country and in neighboring communities. Strategies like engaging with the community more actively to address problems at the neighborhood level, to see what would best fit Queen Creek's unique situation, to maintain the quality of life that residents valued.
When we introduced the final study to the council and we presented the options, and on purpose there was not a staff recommendation. We had 3 options that we presented to them, but the new department option of the 3 options that we laid out for the council is the most expensive option. So the value proposition for that has been at the very core level. People care about quality of life and their safety, both personally and their families.
Before making a decision on the results of the study, a 60-day community outreach was strongly suggested to gather input from the community at large. The council agreed, and extensive effort was made to reach and hear from as many community residents as possible.
We went to the community and asked them their opinion on what they wanted, whether they wanted our own police department or wanted to stay with the sheriff. Overwhelmingly, they decided that we needed our own police department.
On March 18, 2020, after reviewing the results of the community feedback, the town council voted unanimously to approve the creation of the first ever police department for the town of Queen Creek.
I'm Constance Hallinan-Wilson. I serve as the town's public information officer, and I'm here to discuss the results of the public outreach that we did following the December 4th town council meeting. 87% were in favor of the municipal police department, 11% in favor of maintaining the contract with MCSO, and 1% in favor of exploring a contract with another agency.
I'm going to take the chair's prerogative and make a motion that we move forward with creating our own police department. We do have a motion before the floor and a second. And instead of voting last, I'm going to vote first. I vote aye. Vice Mayor Wheatley, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Benning?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown?
I vote aye.
Councilmember Hoffman. Aye. Councilmember Oliphant.
Aye, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Turley.
Aye.
We have a unanimous vote.
The town began by conducting a nationwide search for its first chief of police. As Queen Creek was actively recruiting for that position, the controversy surrounding the death of George Floyd caused police organizations across America to re-examine policies and tactics. Everyone involved in Queen Creek's effort knew they needed to examine even more closely the decision, the process, and the person who would be the chief of police, knowing that person would set the tone for everything that followed. The worldwide COVID-19 pandemic also hit at that time, further complicating recruitment efforts. Despite the setbacks, Queen Creek pressed on to find the right person to lead their new department.
They really had to have, obviously, the technical competency and that professional experience in managing departments. Also, their degree of empathy in managing a very human organization. I mean, Chief Bryce really brought all of those pieces of and from my perspective, the complete package.
On December 2nd, 2020, Chief Randy Bryce was sworn in as Queen Creek's very first chief of police.
Now repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Randy Bryce,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and the laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of Chief of Police
discharge the duties of the office of Chief of Police
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Randy.
When the George Floyd situation popped off, what it really told me was that community connection was the number one and most important part of everything we do. So that you're understanding what the community expects, what they want, that the attributes of the officers that they want to see. So we really gauged everything from recruiting all the way through our processes and the way we would do business. So as tragic as it was, it just helped us to really look at what was most important for the community. And we resoundingly heard what they wanted, and we crafted everything to respond to that. We started out with our motto very early: respect, compassion, and trust. And we really felt like that took us to a point where then we worked on our mission, vision, and values, and that reflected more about the engagement and the success that comes from engagement. So we are committed to that as our sole directive.
The hiring process aimed at identifying those with a natural understanding of the importance of making community and service a priority.
Are you open-minded and want to be part of a new style of policing?
Do you enjoy developing relationships?
Do you want to know your community by name?
Do you enjoy rolling up your sleeves?
And enjoy the phrase,
other duties as assigned. Do you want to be part of starting a new police department? Do you want to be part of the QC community?
We are one town,
one team.
Then the Queen Creek Police Department is for you. Apply today.
The way we did our hiring process allowed us to find the right people for our culture we're trying to build here. But just to see how they approach community problems, that's one of the components of the test, was a community problem, to see where their mind was, where their mindset was. And the ones that did exceptionally well recognized the community is first and service comes first, and it came through their answers very easily.
We got to pick the best of the best. So right now we probably have the best police force in the entire country.
Officers were excited and ready to go right to work, but the training the 90-day academy provided brought greater cohesion and gave them the time to make Queen Creek's community values and the one town, one team philosophy their own.
All of our training was focused on community-oriented policing and problem-oriented policing.
In every training piece, we sent this message, right? That we're part of the community, that we're here to support the community. Even in our defensive tactics training, even in our de-escalation training, even in our driving training, it didn't matter whether it was a law enforcement type skill or dealing with a mental health issue. the same message was sent of what our purpose is here.
I think if we didn't have that 90-day process, we would really be behind the 8 ball with respect to that cultural, organizational consistency, alignment, and then community values. And I think the officers have just really embraced that and appreciated being part of that.
We let them share in the struggle of a command staff developing a police agency and be part of that. We let them create their own procedures. They should be the ones that designs the child crimes protocol, the way we impound property. We needed them to be part of that.
I sleep at night because we have great people and they really do understand our mission and our values, and they embody that.
That's when we knew we're like, okay, we got the right crew, we sent the right message and developed the right culture.
So we want to take a moment. We did get together a time capsule for a very specific purpose, and I know that what we're doing here is really something extraordinary. The time capsule is just a snapshot in time about who we are, that we are pilgrims in this moment, and that I hope in 25 years when somebody uncovers this and sees what we wrote, what we said, and what we provided, that they'll be happy about our contribution, that they'll see we had hope, regardless of what happens in 25 years, that this organization had compassion and hope for what's going to happen in the future. I'm so grateful for all of you, and I do dedicate this time capsule to the Queen Creek Police Department. Thank you so much for being here.
We thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening as we celebrate the launch of the Queen Creek Police Department. Truly a fantastic moment and a very special day for me and my colleagues on the town council and town staff. So, it's time to start a new chapter. As a community, we're ready to welcome the Queen Creek Police Department, and I look forward to doing so. So thank you to Chief Bryce and the new men and women of the Queen Creek Police Department.
But the town of Queen Creek has been so exceptionally kind to the sheriff's office for many, many years, long before I was sheriff. And during a time when it is not only more difficult to be in law enforcement, but more criticism, it's nice to know there are communities that truly appreciate and support the sacrifice that goes on every day. So this is always one of those bittersweet moments. You're leaving a community that that is definitely in your heart, but you see the growth and the opportunity. So what the mayor and the manager and everyone have done to build a municipal law enforcement here to serve this community is historic. You're making history. You will define what municipal law enforcement, town law enforcement means in this community, and you will have the opportunity to define it on your terms.
So what we have built here is not just any police department, it's a modern police department, echoing the sentiments of the community. Every officer is forward-thinking, has integrity, you're grounded in service excellence, and I know that you're committed to this community and will be for many, many years. And the community has asked for police officers who are compassionate, honorable, service-minded. Those very words are now ingrained in the mission of the new department, as the chief and the entire team has worked so hard on. The mission, the vision, the values are embraced by all of you, and we know that.
The town had a vision, and the community saw that through. So kudos to the leadership of this town, from the electeds and to the town leadership, just really taking a chance. Change is difficult. It takes a lot of courage, especially in a time when we have, in law enforcement in particular, a very hard time recruiting and hiring.
I'm so proud of this organization from top to bottom. Our motto here in the town is one town, one team. And I have seen that come to fruition in everything that we've done. I'm so grateful for my lieutenants, my admin, my teammates all the way down through the department, and all the minutes, hours, days of effort they've put in to get this where it is. It is not because of me. It's because of the great team that we've assembled. This is one of my proudest moments as we embarked on this great adventure, is that I was able to be the first chief of this amazing organization. That is, I don't have words to say what it means to me. This is an incredible group, and I'm so grateful for all of them.
18 months after the council voted to create the Queen Creek Police Department on January 11th at midnight, the Sheriff's Department sent out its last radio call, wishing the new police force all the best. A few minutes later, the first ever police chief for the town of Queen Creek made his first radio call, officially making the department operational.
MCS Open 10-7 in Queen Creek. Thank you to all the deputies and dispatchers who serve this community with pride and dignity. It's in good hands with Chief Bryce and the Queen Creek Police Department. Godspeed and stay safe.
Queen Creek Police Department will be 10-8. We're grateful for Sheriff Gunzone and his dedication and his staff. We send our people off and hope for safety and security as they move out to serve the community. And we're grateful for Mesa and dispatch and all the support we've had so far. Good evening, we'll be 10-8.
10-4, Eastern 2 copies. We're here to serve you at 2352.
The success of making a start has been invigorating, but the work will continue. As the community grows, the department will need to grow along with it. With the growth, new challenges will arise. Through it all, the men and women of the Queen Creek Police Department are committed to maintaining their connection to the community, their openness to consistently adopting the best practices of policing, and their focus on providing the very best in service to the community they are a part of.